This is CBC Nova Scotia News.
Budget booze. Premier Tim Houston faces backlash at an African Heritage Month gala amid community cuts.
In court, the stepfather of missing Nova Scotia siblings Jack and Lily Sullivan faces sexual assault charges related to an adult.
And hopeful change. Iranians in Nova Scotia celebrate the death of the country's supreme leader.
Increasing clouds on Tuesday with temperatures bumping back to seasonal, but more snow on tap Tuesday night into Wednesday. Your full forecast is coming up.
Good evening. The backlash to the PC government's budget cuts continues. On Saturday, the Premier was booed at an event honoring the accomplishments of African Nova Scotians.
The Houston government tabled a budget last week that includes $130 million in grant cuts, including to that community. The CBC's Alex Guy now with the reaction.
You might have seen this video circulating online. Premier Tim Houston getting booed during a speech at the African Heritage Month Gala. The tense greeting, a response to the recently announced cuts to grants and services affecting Black and African Nova Scotian communities. Ryan Summers took the video. He says reaction from the community makes sense.
Some of these events might not come back, or might be eliminated. It's hard to even from the education part of it, some of the bursaries and scholarships and stuff for them to not be funded anymore. I mean, wow, some people are going to lose their opportunity to even take post-secondary education. So how can you be happy about that?
Lisa Bland, the vice chair for the Council on African Canadian Education, or CASE, was also in the room that night.
I think our communities have a long history of activism and advocacy, and I was really pleased with the in the moment and necessary vocal action as the Premier was speaking.
Houston responded to the booing today during a press conference in Toronto.
Emotions are high. We have a provincial budget that's working its way through the system, so I know emotions are high. We have a incredible deficit still in place, but we're having to kind of re-examine different spendings and stuff. So we're working through that process. But I have great respect for the community, great respect for Nova Scotians, and I know that can be a difficult time when there's changes to programs.
Bland says the cuts specifically to education involve scholarships worth thousands of dollars. Case was able to speak with the Premier ahead of his speech, and the council is hopeful for meetings to take place in the future.
There had already been concerns that our current minister has not supported or endorsed or reaffirmed the recommendations of the Black Report. Typically, that has been done through several governments since 1995 when it was first endorsed. So we would like to see that happen.
If adjustments are needed, we will listen.
Amid the booing, Houston did say he is willing to listen to the concerns from the community and make adjustments. He also says his government remains committed to supporting increased educational outcomes for African Nova Scotians, but says he has a responsibility to manage the finances of the province. Alex Guy, CBC News, Halifax.
Community members on the Eastern Shore gathered in front of the local museum Saturday to protest that building's closure and the slate of other closures announced last week in the budget. Around 50 people came together in the cold, standing behind the Fisherman's Life Museum. Fisherman's Life is one of 12 provincial museums that are closing. Amanda Dyke worked at the museum for almost 10 years before she was laid off due to the cut.
I'm just trying to show support for the museum, for all the museums, and the whole community's come out here because it feels like no one's really sticking up for us or fighting for us. And these places are precious, they're irreplaceable, and they are really important.
The province says it needs to modernize the museum system and that maintaining all the sites and buildings has become increasingly difficult. Dyke says the museum was relatively cheap to operate as it was seasonal and only had 3 staff members.
Nova Scotians will soon be able to buy alcohol directly from Ontario. Premier Tim Houston and Doug Ford made the announcement today as part of their work to bolster interprovincial trade. Producers of beer, wine, and spirits will be able to start applying Tuesday to the province's Liquor Corporation for authorizations to do the direct-to-consumer sales. Houston says his goal is to have free trade countrywide, and this agreement is a stepping stone toward that.
The stepfather of missing children Jack and Lily Sullivan made his first court appearance on Monday. He's facing charges including sexual assault in relation to an adult. The CBC's Ali Thompson was at the courthouse.
Daniel Martel appeared in Pictou Provincial Court on Monday on charges of sexual assault, and forcible confinement. He's the stepfather of Jack and Lily Sullivan, who have been missing since last May. The charges against the 34-year-old Martel involve an adult complainant whose identity is protected by a publication ban. Interested members of the public packed the courtroom for the brief appearance. At the hearing, Martel stood with his hands clasped at his waist and stared forward as he appeared before the judge. Bill Gorman is the Crown lawyer handling the case. He says Martel will return to court later this month.
And that would be to confirm the formal retainer by Nova Scotia Legal Aid and to deal with the issue of election and or plea, depending upon the level of court that's elected to.
Martel left the courthouse quickly and did not speak to the media. His next court appearance is set for March 30th. Ali Thompson, CBC News, Pictou.
And with us now on this chilly day in Nova Scotia, Ryan Snoddon.
Yes, and talk of snow on the way.
Yeah, that's right. Winter not done yet, although a little taste of spring over the weekend. And you know what? It won't be too bad across the province on Tuesday. Temperatures back to the freezing mark and just above in many cases. Winds from the southwest, 30 gusting 40 to 50 kilometers per hour. And yes, we do indeed have that snow on the way. But note how quiet it is throughout the day on Tuesday. A chilly start yet again. And then those temperatures really rise into the afternoon with increasing clouds. Then the snow is going to arrive. And as we look at the timeline, we're going to be watching that snow spreading in through Tuesday evening and into Wednesday morning. We're looking at a widespread 5 to 15 centimeters. Now, if you're down in the southwest of the province, this is where we're most likely to mix to rain. Down here, Yarmouth, Shelburne, along that south shore, pushing up towards the Halifax area as well. So riding right near that 10 centimeter line for Halifax, and a better chance of climbing into the 10 to 15 centimeter range if you're in the Annapolis Valley, Cobequid Bay, through Truro and across that Northumberland shore and into Cape Breton. So yeah, this is going to move out pretty quickly as we move throughout Wednesday morning, and we're going to see the skies clearing out, and temperatures on Wednesday are going to be bumping up into the 6, 7, 8 degree range. So if there's closer to 5 centimeters in your driveway, I say drive over it, but for many of us, probably shovel-worthy snow.
All right, good advice there.
All right.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you, Ryan.
Turning now to international news, there is no let-up in the U.S. and Israeli attacks on Iran. No signs the conflict could end anytime soon. Israel is also attacking Hezbollah, Iran's proxy force, in Lebanon. And President Donald Trump warns that the U.S. could keep up airstrikes for weeks. That is new video from Tehran. Israel and the U.S. are now into a third day of missile strikes and bombing runs into Iran. Iran's Red Crescent Society says more than 550 people have been killed since the U.S. and Israel launched their air assault early Saturday. Meanwhile, thousands of people in southern Lebanon are attempting to flee north to escape Israeli airstrikes. Israel says the attacks are in retaliation for Hezbollah firing rockets into northern Israel. Lebanon's prime minister is condemning Hezbollah's attack and calling for a ban on its military activities. This is the first fighting between Israel and Hezbollah since their ceasefire more than a year ago.
Meanwhile, Iranians in Nova Scotia took to the streets of Halifax on Sunday with music, flags, dances, and speeches. They were celebrating the death of former Iranian Supreme Leader Ayatollah Ali Khamenei, who was killed in a joint Israel-U.S. airstrike. The CBC's Molly McNaughton was there.
More than 100 Iranians and others cheered and danced in Halifax's Victoria Park on Sunday afternoon. This comes after the death of Iran's supreme leader following a major attack by Israel and the United States. Ziba Mashkuri hasn't been home for more than 30 years. The killing of Hamani filled her with mixed emotions, including the hope to return back someday soon. She's been waiting for this for 47 years.
We are here today to celebrate the death of the most dictator in the world, Ali Khamenei. It doesn't mean that we are at the end of it, but we are at the start of new beginning. So we are here to celebrate.
Sohaila Hashemi was one of the organizers of the gathering. She thanks Israel's Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu and U.S. President Donald Trump.
It was really a big shock, but after that, just happiness. Just I was thinking about the mothers, fathers, families of the person who lost their lives because of the freedom. They asked for freedom, for democracy, nothing else. We don't have that.
For now, they celebrate, but Mashkuri says the fight isn't over yet. Iran is carrying out retaliatory attacks on Israel and nearby Arab Gulf countries hosting U.S. forces. Molly McNaughton, CBC News, Halifax.
Dignitaries, veterans, and members of the Canadian Armed Forces honored those who took part in Operation Friction in the early 90s at a ceremony in Halifax on Saturday.
Around 4,500 personnel were sent to the Gulf as part of Operation Friction, with many members deploying from Halifax.
Canada joined a 35-nation multinational coalition to respond to Iraq's invasion of Kuwait. We did so out of principle, to defend sovereignty, to uphold international law, and to affirm that borders cannot be erased by force.
It's a little bit distinctive because women were new on the front lines for Canada. I had been told in the Navy, in the part-time Navy, when I joined in Dow's Lake in Ottawa, I'd been told at the end of our first summer that I could only be a medical aide or a secretary. And so I went musician, and it was unfortunately that it was misinformation. We went to a weekend in Kingston, Ontario. I saw a gate vessel, about 170, a small vessel from Halifax with women serving on it. And I said, "Who are you? What job are you?" And I thought maybe they were from a different country. So I said, "Oh, I want that job." My family remembers, and everybody remembers, saying goodbye to their family, like saying goodbye and saying, don't feel bad, this is what I chose to do. And, everyone remembers having that conversation. So at 23, which my family kind of laughs at now in letters, I'm saying, I've had a good life.
The late Petty Officer First Class Richard Moore passed away on the morning of December 25th, 2008 from a glioblastoma, multiform brain tumor caused by chemical warfare during his service in the Gulf. After a 9-year battle that I fought on Richard's behalf with the help of Harold Davis, president of the Persian Gulf War Veterans Group of Canada, for Richard's service, he was awarded the Medal of Honor. To our Persian Gulf veterans, whom my children and I hold so close in our hearts, and to your families, I thank you for your service to Canada. May the Government of Canada finally do what is right and grant you the wartime service which you so rightfully deserve.
The emotions are all over the scale, and they're not only all over the scale for myself, they're all over the scale for every veteran in here. When Natasha spoke, you could look around and you could look at, I'm getting emotional already, because it meant something to us, and that's classified as recognition. And it seems that we can't get that from our government right now. So, except for Veterans Affairs Commemorative Department, who hosted this today, and the Department of National Defense has helped us in this part of the recognition. And we do really appreciate that.
There's a wintry scene in Pictou. That's kind of neat. Ryan's up next with the full weather forecast. We'll see you in just a few minutes.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
All right, maybe you were tricked into thinking that spring was speeding up and we were getting there somehow faster, but boy, today changed people's opinions of that.
And if you put your shovel away, you better dig it out,
Get it back
right?
again.
Yeah,
For
that's
most
right.
people.
Saturday was so nice. Even yesterday was pretty nice. The sun, the mild temperatures, especially Saturday. But today was a reality check. Coldest day.
Brisk.
Yeah, coldest day in a month. And even though, this morning was really cold, especially in this spot. First, our live look at Parsboro.
Beautiful, isn't it?
Rockcliffe.
It is.
And
Amazing.
yes, the sun just setting there and a beautiful evening in Parsboro. And thanks to Nova Scotia webcams for this beautiful shot. And yes, indeed, this morning in Parsboro, it was minus 20. That was our cold spot. And yeah, most of us in the minus 15 to 20 range. So very chilly indeed. And in terms of where we recovered, minus 6 to minus 10 to 11 to 12. It was a cold one for sure. Now, as we look at the current temperatures, yeah, we're falling back already into the minus double digits for many of us. The winds have been a factor today. Those will continue to ease as we move into the overnight. Still seeing some gusts in the 30 to 40 kilometer per hour range out there right now. And looking at the weather systems map, hardly a cloud in the sky for much of today, and you can see that ice in through the Northumberland Strait. We've had a few flurries for northern Cape Breton and some blowing snow there. That is going to continue to ease tonight as well. We're going to get into this little warm pocket here, this warm sector of this next system temporarily after the snow comes in as we move our way into Tuesday night and Wednesday. There's the system which is going to be riding along, and then we've got the colder air to sweep back in to end the week. But the long-range forecast is looking more mild for sure, and we'll talk about that in just a second. Temperatures variable right now for sure, from 13 in Vancouver to minus 28 in Yellowknife to minus 11 in St. John's and Halifax. Now, as we look at the temperature outlook as we roll through tonight, indeed, it is going to be a chilly one. As I said earlier in the program, we're going to be dropping our way into the minus double digits and teens yet again. Looks like Yarmouth will be near minus 10, but rising to the minus 3 or 4 range by tomorrow morning. And that southwest flow, which will come in, will bump our temperatures up for everybody pretty quickly throughout the morning. After a very, very chilly start Tuesday morning, we're near the freezing mark for many of us by the lunchtime hour, especially in the west. It'll take longer for that milder air to push its way into Cape Breton, but eventually you folks will bump up towards the freezing mark as well. And we're going to be seeing, yes, some cloud cover into the mix into the afternoon, but lots of sunshine for Cape Breton tomorrow. Those winds gusting 40 to 50 kilometers per hour back into central areas. We're going to be talking about temperatures just above the freezing mark in many cases, and then into the west. This is our best chance of seeing those temperatures climb above freezing, 1, 2, and 3 degrees. Okay, timeline for Tuesday evening into the overnight. Here comes the snow arriving throughout the evening for the western areas and then early overnight for you folks in the east. And yes, some mixing with this one likely. Digby, Kedgie, Lunenburg to Halifax, and then up and along the Atlantic coastline. This is where we're looking at our best chance of seeing some freezing rain and rain mixing in with the snow. Heavier snow just north of that mixing line. That's where we're most likely to push into that 10 to 15 centimeter total, and maybe even higher terrain areas like Mount Tom and the Cobequid Pass, possibly exceeding that. And look at the temperatures here, 4 or 5 degrees as this mild air pushes in. Some slight mixing, even possible eastern parts of the mainland into Cape Breton early Wednesday morning. But note, by Wednesday morning, this thing is quickly moving out, and then the temperatures 6, 7, 8 degrees Wednesday afternoon. So yes, again, if you're going to be, look at these temperatures. There it is again with the forecast, and we are talking about some sun coming in as well. So lots of melting, but if you're closer to 5 centimeters, the sun and the mild temperatures will do a lot of damage. But if you're in this zone here, probably better to shovel it, and that is again that 10 to 15 centimeter swath. Halifax likely to be closer to that 10 centimeter mark by the looks of things right now. And I say shovel because temperatures are going to be dropping back behind that system. We're back below the freezing mark for highs on Thursday and on Friday, though some signs of spring again Saturday into Sunday with some shower chances and some mild temperatures. And next week is looking rather mild as well, Tom.
Okay. Well, I'd like to not shovel in the meantime if we could. That'd be all right.
Yeah.
Thanks so much, Ryan.
Thank you.
Well, it's been a week since the Houston government tabled a budget that featured lots of cuts, including $130 million in grant reductions to hundreds of programs.
After stepping up to speak at a gala over the weekend, the Premier saw and heard public blowback to the budget firsthand. The CBC's Michael Gorman and Taryn Grant explain.
Premier Tim Houston and his progressive conservative government had a rough week, starting with tabling their budget on Monday and ending on Saturday night when Houston and his African Nova Scotian Affairs Minister stood in front of hundreds of people at African Heritage Month Gala and were booed and heckled for cuts that are in their budget. And it got us thinking about how this government and this premier are going to recover from this moment.
We said coming into this session that it was apt to be the most difficult the PCs were going to have had so far, and so far that's bared true. It all culminated with that scene at the gala, but the reality is that since that budget was tabled at the beginning of the session, people's anger has been building as they've learned more and more about $130 million worth of grants and program cuts focused predominantly on arts and culture, as well as services for African Nova Scotian and Black and ALNU affairs related organizations.
This week, we're going to be watching to see how they respond, but already they've been having a hard time doing that. Last week, the Premier and cabinet ministers were repeatedly asked how they made decisions about what to cut, and they really struggled providing the kind of answers that the public were looking for, with detailed information about the decisions that they made.
You know, I'll get back to you, Michael, on that.
Presumably, they've had some time over the weekend to work on their messaging, and the reality is they're going to be under pressure to do that, particularly if a rally scheduled for Wednesday turns into quite a large event. It's going to be very difficult to arrive here at the House amidst a large group of upset people and have nothing to offer them. It's also worth noting that the Premier is not here the first 2 days this week. He's in Ontario for meetings and conferences related to his energy portfolio, and one would think that even though that's where his mind is while he's away, he is also thinking about what kind of message is he going to bring back here when he returns to Nova Scotia and the legislature on Wednesday.
And it's not just the public that he's going to have to answer to. He has a large caucus of MLAs who are having to answer to their constituents, and I imagine there are some challenging conversations that are going to happen within that caucus. We've already seen one of his prominent cabinet ministers, Kim Masland, come out and say that she's concerned about some of the impacts to her constituency. And if she's saying that publicly, I imagine there are other private conversations going on as well.
So what this will all mean, we'll have to wait and see. The reality is that one of the things the Premier did say during that difficult gala for him on Saturday is that if they've made changes that are going to create unintended consequences, they're willing to listen. And so now we're going to see just how much they're willing to listen and just how much they're willing to pivot on a budget that so far has proved very unpopular.
At the end of the day, the government has a fiscal reality that it has to contend with. The reason for all of these unpopular cuts is that revenues have dried up for this province, and they're projecting at least another 4 years of cuts. Houston keeps saying the prosperous future that he's envisioning is the solution, but the natural resource projects that he is talking about are going to take years to come to fruition and actually bring more money into the province, likely before the next provincial election.
Coming up, opposition leader Claudia Chender weighs in on Tim Houston's newest budget and Nova Scotia's growing debt. Debate is underway at the Nova Scotia legislature over the Houston government's newest budget. It includes a deficit of $1.2 billion and cuts to as many as 1,000 full-time equivalent positions across the public service, as well as $130 million in grant cuts across various sectors. And for more on this, we're joined by opposition leader Claudia Chender. So Nova Scotia is facing this substantive deficit and then a growing $28 billion debt.
Yeah.
Should cuts not be made in light of all that?
Well, I think the questions Nova Scotians are asking is, how did we get here? This government was elected 5 years ago with a balanced budget. We had a good goal for where our debt to GDP was going to be, and we seem to be on track. Since then, we've seen $6.7 billion of out-of-budget spending. And most people wouldn't agree that healthcare is fixed. People still are facing major affordability issues. And so we absolutely have to get things under control, but we need to understand that this government is giving us value for money. And the $130 million in grants that you mentioned they get 10% of this year's deficit. So the disproportionate impact on the groups facing those versus the impact that will make on the budget raises a lot of questions just about the cruelty of those cuts.
Now, the Premier says they had to make that spending early on into critical infrastructure because other governments, previous governments, failed to do so. What do you make of that argument?
We absolutely need infrastructure, but we would like it to be done in a transparent way inside the budget with procurement processes that people understand. The fact of the matter is that they have never been able to explain why $6.7 billion in appropriations happened outside of legislative oversight, outside of clear oversight of the Auditor General, and without any safeguards. And so we really are kind of off the rails right now. I think the numbers show that. And the question is, how do we get back on? This government has not shown any appetite towards getting back on track in terms of demonstrating to government, to citizens, that they're getting value for money, and it's really important.
Now, would you support something like bringing back the percentage point that was taken off the HST to cover the cost of those proposed cuts? Would that be something that you'd look towards?
Well, I don't think that that's what we're discussing. I mean, there's lots of line items. We have a $500,000 restructuring line in our budget. That's apparently money for a rainy day. It sure feels like it's raining right now. So I think there's a lot of places we can look at to recoup revenue. But again, the cuts that people are reacting so strongly to, they don't do that. They don't fulfill that function, but they do make a lot of organizations and individuals really suffer. And so I think that is the challenge that Nova Scotians are having.
We talked about the reaction to those cuts. We've heard that there was booing of the Premier at one event. But the Houston government has the votes it needs to pass the budget. So when people are voicing their displeasure, what kind of impact is it going to have?
Well, the Houston government was elected to lead on behalf of all Nova Scotians. So if their only concern is votes, then I would suggest they're not doing their job properly. And I think that, this government should walk back a number of those cuts. I think the government was booed at the African Heritage Month Gala that had over 1,200 people there because of the disproportionate and stunning cuts across the board to programs that impact the lives of African Nova Scotians. Things like the Transition Year program that have been in place for decades. Museum funding. And you mentioned the job cuts. We're going to see a 30% reduction in the public service in 4 years. Those are jobs all across rural Nova Scotia. Meanwhile, we're going to see a lot more job losses than that with the closure of museums and cultural institutions. And there are cuts to caregivers and accessibility. I think there are big questions, and I think the government has to understand the disproportionate impact. We have no idea why they chose these. At the very least, Nova Scotians need an explanation, and if this government is doing their job of representing all Nova Scotians, then we're going to have to see them find another place to fix the mistakes they've made.
Now, the legislature sitting is moving at a very rapid pace, and it seems like the government wants to have a quick in and out. Yeah. How effective can you be when you don't have that much time in the legislature to raise the points you want to make?
The Premier said the other day that he doesn't think being in the legislature is his main job. That's really clear. He was there 30 days all of last year. He wasn't even there that much, but the government was there 30 days of last year. They've taken all the guardrails off again, so they can shut down debate whenever they want. They have all kinds of draconian rules they've introduced. But Nova Scotians are paying attention. There's all kinds of rallies planned outside Province House. And as the opposition, our job is to bring those voices into the legislature and to argue on behalf of all Nova Scotians. We do that every day. People are paying attention. And I think people are pretty sensitive right now to the state of democracy. And the reality is in Nova Scotia, it's not doing very well. When you have a legislature, the only one in the country that doesn't have a calendar, when you don't know when they'll be sitting, and when you can see plainly they don't want to be there because they don't want to be accountable, I think Nova Scotians are demanding better. They're going to continue to do that, and I think we're going to help them make sure that government gets that message.
All right, we'll leave it there. Thank you very much for your time.
Thanks, Amy.
Coming up, U.S. President Donald Trump speaks at the White House for the first time since launching strikes on Iran.
And Mark Carney signs a series of agreements with India's government as both prime ministers celebrate a new era of partnership. Welcome back. U.S. President Donald Trump is standing firm on his decision to attack Iran, calling it the last best chance to eliminate threats posed by the country's regime.
As Kate McKenna reports, the administration is not ruling out further assaults or even putting American boots on the ground.
In his first public appearance since launching an attack on Iran, Donald Trump defended the war.
We warned Iran not to make any attempt to rebuild at a different location, but they ignored those warnings and refused to cease their pursuit of nuclear weapons. In addition, the regime's conventional ballistic missile program was growing rapidly and dramatically, and this posed a very clear, colossal threat to America and our forces stationed overseas.
Speaking at the White House, the U.S. president says conflict is expected to last longer than a couple of days.
Right from the beginning, we projected 4 to 5 weeks, but we have capability to go far longer than that. We'll do it.
Trump says their goal is to destroy Iran's missiles and navy and to make it impossible for the country to ever get nuclear weapons after failed peace talks.
Well, President Trump, Secretary Rubio, Steve Witkoff, Jared Kushner, they bent over backwards for real diplomacy, offering pathway after pathway to peace. I watched it. I was there. They tried over and over and over again earnest attempts at peace.
Secretary of War Pete Hegseth wouldn't rule out putting American boots on the ground, but says this is not a forever war.
This is not Iraq. This is not endless. I was there for both. Our generation knows better, and so does this president. He called the last 20 years of nation-building wars dumb, and he's right. This is the opposite.
Domestically, Trump is facing criticism for not speaking with Congress before acting. Americans have already died in action. The president says more casualties are likely coming. Kate McKenna, CBC News, Washington.
With the U.S. and Israel continuing their airstrikes on Iran, some Iranians are fleeing the country. The CBC's Briar Stewart has more on that from the border between Iran and Turkey.
I'm at the Kapakoi border crossing between Turkey and Iran, and all throughout the day we have seen people go over the border, both entering Iran and coming out. We understand that all through the night there were computer system issues that were preventing many Iranian citizens from exiting the country. From what we're hearing from people passing through, those have mostly been rectified now, but people are making very long journeys, and they're doing it with very little communication with the outside because, of course, there has been widespread internet outages. Now, I spoke with a young woman, a 23-year-old, who was actually supposed to return to Tehran, but she got a call from her mother telling her not to come back yet, to stay away for now. Now, she didn't want to be identified because she fears punishment that could come from the Iranian authorities if she speaks out. She talked about how she felt when she heard that Iran's supreme leader had been killed in the strikes. She said it gave her optimism that things might change, but she says this is really only the beginning.
In the end, we hope to have a really big celebration, but I don't really know what's going to happen yet, because it won't end with just Khamenei dying. The whole regime has to fall, and it's not really clear what is going to happen.
I would say there is a lot of fear, certainly among Iranians that we have spoken to, people not wanting to be identified, people scared to share their opinions. There's also the other perspective, people who believe that Iran is being unfairly targeted. I heard one woman say that it was the U.S. and Israel that started this as she was leaving the border today. So you do have divergent views, but I think it is safe to say that everybody is fearful because war is war, and certainly we know that there are a large volume of strikes going on, and people are afraid for their loved ones and their families at this time. Briar Stewart, CBC News, along the border between Turkey and Iran.
The federal government expressed support for the U.S. strikes in Iran, but said it preferred a diplomatic solution. As Olivia Stefanovich reports, the position is drawing a mix of support and condemnation.
For these Iranian Canadians, the U.S.-Israeli attacks mark a major turning point.
The Iranian people have been wanting this from not yesterday, not today's attack, from 40-some years ago.
At all times, Canada has stood by the Iranian people.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says the federal government is taking a nuanced position.
We share the concern of the United States and many other countries relating to Iranian nuclear proliferation. At the same time, We prefer a diplomatic solution.
We don't think Canada should be endorsing illegal wars of aggression by the Trump administration, which has repeatedly, by the way, threatened our own sovereignty.
The NDP is accusing the Prime Minister of contradicting his Davos speech.
Prime Minister Carney very clearly sent a message to the world that middle powers need to join together to oppose superpower aggression wherever it occurs.
When Donald Trump and Benjamin Netanyahu break international law, break the international rules-based order, and Mark Carney cheers them on the sides, I don't think that's the correct response.
Criticism is also coming from within the government.
But Canada cannot endorse the unilateral and illegal use of military force, the killing of civilians, or the kidnap and assassination of foreign heads of government, while also insisting that our sovereignty, our rights, and our independence must be respected.
But others are calling for Ottawa to get even more involved.
Canadian government can join U.S. forces to help Iranians to overthrow the regime and bring back prosperity, freedom, and democracy to the country.
The Foreign Affairs Minister says Canada wasn't involved in the U.S. attacks and has no plans to join military strikes or operations in Iran. Olivia Stefanovich, CBC News, Ottawa.
Turning to other news now, Prime Minister Mark Carney has signed multiple deals with India worth billions of dollars, a move that aims to turn the page on years of frosty relations. The CBC's Catherine Cullen has more.
A display of friendship between leaders after years of tension and accusations between the two countries.
There has been more engagement between the Canadian and Indian governments in the last year than there has been in more than 2 decades combined.
From our very first meeting itself, there has been a new energy, mutual trust, and a positivity in our relations, said the Indian Prime Minister. Mark Carney and Narendra Modi announced a host of agreements for more cooperation on university research, AI, space, a partnership on energy, including gas and renewables.
Tremendous momentum. The tone gets set at the top. There's a lot of energy in the room, but the thing that India most needs is energy.
And part of this trip is the announcement Saskatchewan's Cameco will provide $2.6 billion of uranium to help India grow its nuclear power.
Good steps taken today, material steps taken today that benefit both countries.
Formal trade negotiations will also get underway with hopes of a deal this year. And the two countries agreed to further work together on defense, security, and law and order. Modi also accepted an invitation to visit Canada. It comes less than 3 years after Canada accused India's government of being involved in the assassination of a Sikh activist in BC, as well as a wave of extortion and violence the next year. Last week, a senior Canadian official told reporters the violence fueled by the Indian state had stopped. It prompted backlash from some in the Sikh community. Today, the Foreign Affairs Minister seemed to say the official got it wrong.
The words of the senior official are not words that I personally would use.
Carney's meetings with Modi went on for more than 2 hours. The Prime Minister's office says that was longer than planned, and Carney ran out of time to take questions from journalists. It means the Prime Minister left India, heading on to Australia, without ever weighing in himself on whether the Indian government is still targeting some Canadians. Catherine Cullen, CBC News, New Delhi.
You might expect artificial intelligence to take away jobs, but there's something else that AI is gobbling up and making it harder for you to get or afford your next tech device. Jenna Benetrit explains.
Making AI helpful for everyone.
The artificial intelligence boom is devouring the world's supply of memory chips. A shortage that could soon drive up prices and delay shipments of laptops, smartphones, and other electronics.
We've seen this huge growth in investments in AI data centers, and that is kind of sucking all the oxygen out of the room.
There are just 3 major manufacturers of random access memory chips, or RAM, which is one of the main hardware that powers most devices. All have shifted their focus to the AI industry, which needs more powerful chips for their servers.
They've reallocated a lot of their capacity to the newer and more profitable high bandwidth memory segment.
Faced with that higher demand, those manufacturers are now charging higher prices. One RAM kit sold in Canada cost below $150 last September. By February, the same kit was priced at nearly $500. Even Apple CEO Tim Cook recently warned that memory prices will go up significantly and that the tech giant is considering a range of options to deal with it. The gaming industry could be hard hit too. Investors worry that could lead to delays and price hikes on new consoles from Nintendo and Sony.
As we approach that, they're certainly formulating multiple strategies right now, and a lot of those strategies will involve price increases.
But one U.S. company that builds modular computers says to avoid increasing its customer prices, it's selling memory from its current stockpile at cost.
Even for us as a manufacturer, being able to source memory from suppliers has obviously become both much more challenging and much more expensive.
For now, many electronics companies say they're managing their stockpile of memory chips, but that will likely hold them over just until the end of the year. Jenna Benchitrid, CBC News, Toronto.
Well, we don't think of high cholesterol as a problem in children, but the Canadian Pediatric Society is now recommending all children be tested for it. As Lauren Pelly reports, experts believe it could help prevent serious health issues later in life.
Good thing. Healthy eating is important to this Edmonton family. Mike Heathcote has a genetic condition that causes bad cholesterol to build up inside his arteries, and it passed on to his two kids.
They had a healthy, active lifestyle, just normal kids. If you didn't do the test, you never would have known.
That test was simple blood work to screen for high cholesterol. It gave Heathcote a chance to get his children on statin medication early to protect them from heart disease later in life.
Hopefully when I'm 40, 50, I won't be at the same stage as someone who might have not caught it.
The Canadian Pediatric Society is now calling for all Canadian children to be screened for high cholesterol between the ages of 2 and 10 years old. Researchers say 1 in 300 Canadians has familial hypercholesterolemia, or FH, a genetic condition that causes lifelong elevations in blood cholesterol, starting in childhood. For 9 in 10 people with FH, the condition is undiagnosed.
If we don't treat it, the risk for early heart attacks and strokes is dramatically increased in these individuals.
Treatment ranges from diet and lifestyle changes to lifelong medication.
It is easy to diagnose and easy to treat, and we just simply are missing it.
Sometimes, if we're very successful, we can actually reverse diseases before they become actual problems that we have to medicate people for.
Some countries already have widespread screening programs, but doctors here warn it could be challenging to try and get more children to have their blood drawn.
That's going to be very hard to do. They're not readily available in clinics out in the community. Children don't like getting their blood taken.
Still, this family says it's worth it.
There's literally no reason not to take the test.
And one good reason to have it done, staying healthy for years to come. Lauren Pelly, CBC News, Toronto.
This weather update is brought to you in part by Atlantic Lottery's iGames. Play hundreds of games on the Atlantic Lottery app or at alc.ca.
Yeah, the sun was nice today. I'm not sure how much melting was happening because it was so cold.
Still though, sun is very good for your spirit.
Yeah, definitely. And there's been a ton of sun pictures in the Ryan's Picks inbox for sure. This one, though, I thought was fitting today when we're all back into a bit of a deep freeze. Have a look at this picture, which was taken Saturday, which, of course, there was so much melting going on. This at the Hebron Waterfall just outside of Yarmouth. And Ralph, yeah, so some open water there. And, yeah, definitely nice to see a little sign of spring. Albeit you have to look closely, especially today. But yes, tomorrow temperatures rebound nicely. Those winds from the southwest, 20 to 30, gusting 40 to 50, bumping those temperatures back up to 0. And then that snow will track in as we move through the Tuesday evening and early overnight time frame. Note the mix to rain and maybe some freezing rain. Digby County, Yarmouth County, Shelburne County, Queens, pushing into Kedzie and Lunenburg, and then eventually up into Metro as well as the Eastern Shore. And then even up towards Pictou and Etiquanish could see some very light freezing drizzle or drizzle mixing in, and Cape Breton as well. And then those temperatures really bumping up for Wednesday afternoon, ranging between 4 and 8 degrees. And that snow, though, will still likely be shovel-worthy for many of us, looking at 5 to 15 centimeters.
I guess so. All right, well, for 20 years now, one particular award ceremony has been steadily going to the dogs. Yes, this is the Fido Awards, where the top dogs of the silver screen are honored.
The event recognizes and celebrates the best movie performances across a range of categories. Those attending included Toad, the Jack Russell featured in Hamnet, and Rosie, the Rottweiler, who appeared in Pillion.
The final award, Best in World, went to an American bulldog named Dixie for her performance in Dragonfly.
Oh, congratulations, Dixie. That's it for us tonight. Thanks for watching. We'll see you next time.
Good night.
Good night.